Welcome to Mythic High Command Guide. This fight is actually quite easy for a tank. It's almost identical to Heroic from a tanking perspective, so there really isn't much change. Let's go ahead and take a look at the talents. For this fight, I'd recommend Abyssal Strike, Fallout, Flame Crash, Fracture. 106, Sigil Chains could help with the ads, not really needed. I used it once or twice. Damage-wise, Concentrated Sigils is better. Spirit Bomb, and this tier I would go with Last Resort. Demonic Confusion could be okay, but you're only tanking for a small period of time, so you don't really need that much uptime of DS. Soul Barrier, not really that good on this fight. It's not a lot of consistent ticking damage, so I'll just run with Last Resort. Gear-wise, I would go the 4-piece tier 21 is good, because you're tanking a lot, you're getting hit a lot, so that's not bad for the parry. 2-piece tier 20 is also good for the 5% damage reduction. Trinket wise and legendary wise, this is completely dependent on if you need the survivability or if you can scumbag some damage. So from the survivability, you could run Archmon's Hatred Reborn for the second, or if you miss a taunt rotation, maybe third or fourth exploit weakness. Demez is really good because this is up for every second exploit or every third exploit of weakness. Other legendary or trinkets, you could do Pantheon Trinket just because you sort of have to. If you're looking to min-max the raid as a whole, you need to use the tanking trinket, or if you're lucky enough to get Amenthul's, you could use that as well. Apocalypse Drive could be okay on this. I haven't used it yet, but it could be decent. If you're looking for damage, Warglaives for AoE, Kil'jaeden's Burning Wish for the AoE. Pridus could be okay. Runemaster's Pauldron is not needed. The belt for damage is good. The boots are good. Sephuz could be decent because you can interrupt the Pyromancer out of 2 of the 3 ads or bosses being up. Pants are okay, but honestly I don't think it's needed. You're only tanking half the time. For single target damage, if you have good tier 2 traits in the Crucible, the Insignia could be good. And that's it for that. And consumables, always the same thing: Agility Flask, Agility Food, Prolonged Power for AoE, Old War for single target. And that's that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the fight. Alright, so here's Mythic High Command. The fight is just like the other fights, especially as a tank. This fight isn't very hard. We do the same thing that we do in Heroic. Nothing's changed as a tank. So I'm going to go ahead and start it. It's the normal pull rotation, jump in, Firebrand, Immolate, Soul Carver. Positioning, we do this a little bit different for Mythic. Let me point this out. We pull her to the corner here, because in Mythic there are now bats that spawn on the sides of the pods that tries to pull the person out of the pod. And we find that if we put her in one of the 2 sides, it doesn't matter which side, the melee can actually cleave on the bats and kill them. And that seemed to work a lot better. When the bats are on the other side, the range just kills them. So we pull her to the side so the bats can cleave down. As a tank, the only thing we have to worry about is making sure we have threat in the ads on the Shock Troopers and the Pyromancer, and the Exploit weakness. Exploit weakness is physical damage, so you need to have Demon Spikes up for every Exploit weakness. I found that when I didn't have it up, I can get bursted down real fast. Normally you want to do a taunt rotation on 2. You can eat 3 or 4 if you absolutely have to, if you use cooldowns, but ideally you want to taunt on 2. So another thing you can help out with is the Pyromancer. Make sure it stays interrupted. You can use Sigil of Chains, you can use Sigil of Silence, you can use Consume Magic, Arcane Torrent, whatever it takes. Other than that, there really isn't much here. I just pull threat off the tank, and this is going to cause an issue. So right there I pull threat, he taunts. Now, I'm supposed to taunt, I use it, the boss is immune. So this happened quite a few times actually when we were learning this fight. So I tried Taunt again, she is once again still immune. So the off tank called for a cooldown. Actually, I don't think he did. He just used his own cooldowns, and then he could survive pretty easily. So we're gonna pick up this ad. We're gonna put this ad in the same place. Well, if you look at the positioning of the Fell Shield emitters, they position it so the tanks can still stand in it while being closer to the corner. Honestly, that's it for tanks. There really isn't anything else here. Yeah, so this is really it. Let's talk about the other parts of this fight, since, you know, it could be useful to people. First, let's talk about the pods. The pods work identically as in Heroic and normal, except for the one exception of, well, two exceptions. First off is when you leave the pod, you get a debuff that lasts 1 minute. Oh, I'm sorry, that lasts permanently. You cannot get into the pod again the rest of the time. So what we did was we pre-assigned everybody. You can see in the Agri assignments down here. We assigned for an 8-pod rotation. Unless everybody is dying or your DPS is really bad, you should never get to 8 pods. And we don't here. The other thing is the pods, you have a new button and it can kill bats. So if they notice that the range is not going to kill any of the bats, or they're behind, they can nuke the bats and not get pulled out. I was trying to make sure I have the threat in the ads.
4, 3, 2, 1.
So once the shield, we should be pulling the boss back into the correct corner. I taunted, I can try to move him back. I think I do at least. Yeah, alright. Other things in Mythic is these bombs that everybody will get periodically. This shock grenade. You have to run it out because it's going to explode and stun everybody in that radius. Another thing that you could do, and we did this initially, are these mines will now explode. And they do in other difficulties as well. Will explode after a set period of time. So in the third pod, you can use the second action button and blow them up. So as a tank, what you could do is if you notice there is no mine debuff, you could run over one mine just to get rid of it. Because healing through 1 or 2 mines isn't bad. You just need to make sure that other people are hitting mines. So no debuffs, everybody's topped off, you can pop mines. We didn't do it on purpose in this kill because the pod 3 people got really good at just killing all the correct mines. Other reasons why you'll wipe, bats pulling people out of pods, believe it or not, was an issue.
4, 2,
Once we got it down though, after I would say 6 pulls, 7 pulls, it stopped becoming an issue. Again, that's really it, guys. If I see anything else as the fight goes on, I'll mention it. But it's a very simple fight, as in mechanics. But you have to make sure you do all the mechanics correctly, or it's a wipe. We had like a 3% wipe, a 0.5% wipe, another 5% wipe. So it can go bad quick, especially if one of your pod people that's coming up dies. I'll show you one more thing that almost wiped us on this kill. And actually did wipe us before, in a different prior pull.
4, 3, 2, 1.
It might be here when it happens. Alright, so let me show you what almost calls this here, or calls a white bear, and it has called a white bear before. This fell shield emitter, this has a duration. If you pop this early, like when the room gets dark and you pop it then, the shield will be down when it comes out, and it can kill you. So you want to wait until you set and you see DBM or Bigwigs tells you to use it.
One.
So when you see like full set shield or yada yada yada, that's when you want to hit it. I'm trying to remember if it's here or the next one.
3, 2, 1.
It might be this one, because they hit it early.
2, 1.
Yeah. You pop the shield early, which caused the shield to be down when the actual attack got off. And we lost how many people? 2, 4, 6 people? Maybe more. Did we better res somebody? We may have.
4, 3, 2, 1.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Once you guys get the rotation down, this is one of the fights where you can use DPS trinkets and legendaries and be fine, because you're only taking 2 adds or 2 hits from exploit weakness. So long as you have your CDs up for exploit weakness, you're fine.
2, 1.
Like I said, this is the kill, and kill we do progression, and somebody left to bomb in there. So yeah, just like most of my first kills that you guys see, this is very sloppy. And there he is, or they, I guess. As a tank, nothing's changed. It's really easy as a tank, but you're gonna wipe probably quite a bit based on other people doing dumb stuff, just like most fights. But yeah, so that's the fight. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll answer them. Thank you.